took a little longer for me to get to this one than I would have preferred. But 4th episode of the HBO Watchmen series. And the depth of things continues. And getting into a bit more character. These are really well fleshed out characters, which is rewarding to see, especially given the fact how few of them are actually recurring from the original comic. That said, one of the few that is recurring from the original comic is starting to grate on me a little bit, and that is Adrian White. So here's the thing. We get 1 or 2 scenes per episode with him, and, it's establishing some stuff. It's establishing this place that he's at, and it's established his servants who are clonable and disposable, and there was, a well-done sort of factor as he took these fetus-looking things and rapid aged them up to be his new butler and maid. And the thing was, up to this point, I'd only seen him killing versions of Mr. Phillips. I hadn't seen him kill a Miss Crookshanks, so I was starting to think that only Mr. Phillips was the clone, but now I know, no, it's definitely both of them. And, we are learning new things each time, and in this case, we learned it's my guess he's inside some sort of force bubble or something that hides him from the world, because he's catapulting these corpses out, and they hit a certain point in the sky and they just vanish. So, I'm learning stuff, but the thing is, Adrian White has not in any way been connected to what's currently going on. Now, unlike Laurie, who was brought in and is an active participant in the current story, Adrian White, right now, feels like a hanger-on from the original. Now, I don't doubt that he's going to be relevant and he's going to be important as the story moves forward, and it will eventually hit a point where his role in all of this is going to become clearer and be, make it very evident to me that, oh, that's why I needed to be here. But now 4 episodes in, the fact that I'm not entirely sure why he's here is starting to wear on me a little bit. I feel like that's a little bit too long to go having a character whose purpose is unclear. That's just my take on it. I'm really liking what they're doing with Angela, especially with her reactions and responses to anything around her family. So, for instance, when she goes to that center and sees the new branch on her family tree and finds out where Will came from, there's something about the performance, and maybe it's part of me reading into it, but there's something about her performance that really brings this sense of not fully knowing where she comes from, not fully knowing her own history, and being both excited and scared to find out. And there's no dialogue specifically to indicate that. It's all in the performance. It's a lot just in the eyes. She's doing a phenomenal job in this. Again, all the performances are good and are solid. And it's interesting sort of slowly watching things unfold and watching characters. Normally the term I would use is bounce off each other, but that implies more, sort of vibrant energy, which these characters don't have. They're cautiously circling each other. So to see Laurie come in and set up shop where the dead chief was, and appearing to know that this is going to antagonize people. Yeah. And we've got some new wrinkles. So we've got this woman who is in the opening. She buys up this land just before something from Space lands, and she claims it for her own. And I'm certainly intrigued. I'm going to be very curious to see how things pull together with her. And they've obviously done some connection with her and Adrian White, or at least that she has a very high esteem for him. And there's some wonderful oddness between the relationship between her and her daughter, who we see when they interact together. I'm like, something's off, and I don't know what it is. But I'm kind of curious to find out. And maybe I never will. Maybe it'll just be a vibe over the whole thing. And honestly, I'm kind of okay with that too. This This was an episode that I would say more than any other feels like it is, yeah, even more than the first one. Feels like it is setting up future events more than it is having any particularly significant event happen in it, at least so far as I'm recognizing at this point. But it's still, everything it's setting up is intriguing. I think that's the key. If you're going to do an episode that is largely set up for future events, those setups and the questions that you raise better be intriguing. They had really better make you go, ooh, I want to see where that goes. Because otherwise you can feel like something's spinning its wheels. Either if what it's setting up doesn't feel that interesting, or the other sin would be if what it's setting up is a very logical extension of what already was going on, and you find yourself thinking, why'd you spend a whole episode doing this next step thing when I could have guessed what this step was? You could have done this like just in the first 10 minutes and then actually had something happen. Neither is the case here. What it's setting up is not all stuff that automatically flows logically from what we already know. It's new things, it's new players, it's new information, all of which I am intrigued by and want to get a better sense of. Yeah. I don't think I have a heck of a lot more to say on this particular episode, but I don't know if you can hear the dog now hacking up. There he goes. I really think this series is phenomenally put together. I'm just really impressed with what this has been able to do so far, and I'm really intrigued to see what it's going to do next. So that'll be it for this one, folks. A little bit shorter than usual, but I'll be back when I see the next episode, and all the usual stuff. Like, share, subscribe, Patreon. No pressure, though. Don't sweat it. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so just come on back next time you need a break.